Here we have an iPad Pro 9.7 inch that came in for no power. We already disassembled the screen. We disconnected the battery from the motherboard with a separator. And where do we start? Let me just do a quick visual inspection on the board to see if there's anything obvious. And we have about 20 minutes for this repair. So let's see if we can figure it out. Just quickly running through the board. And nothing obvious. Looks good. And honestly, I do not see anything obvious. Let me just do a random checkup here in this area. It's very often that we find shorted capacitors around this area. So we do have a short. We have a short everywhere. Look at this. What the? I mean, just every capacitor that we touch has a short on it. What is causing the problem? Where do we start? Let me plug power into this tablet, and we're gonna monitor the board under a thermal cam and see if there's anything obvious. Right now we have the battery disconnected, so nothing's gonna turn on. Let's go ahead and remove the separator right here between the battery and the motherboard. Oh, look at this. Something immediately got hot right here. And that's a power IC here. If we disconnect the cable, it cools down. Connect the cable again, and it goes back on again. So it's very possible that this power IC is causing a short on everything that we tested here in this area. Disconnect the cable. It's gonna cool down again, and we're gonna reconnect the cable. And look at that. It gets hot immediately. So what's the problem? Is the problem that small power IC, or is it something else that's causing this IC to go hot? Let me take a look at the area. So right now the IC that is getting hot is this one here. 343S00089. We should have this IC in stock, and we have the 90 version also for iPad 10.5. Let me measure here again in diode mode. We do have a short. What about this one here? And we have short. What if we inject a short here? What if we inject a short? What if we inject voltage right here on this cap, because we have room to inject voltage here, and see what gets hot on the board? Right now we know that the power IC is getting hot, but just to confirm, why don't we inject about 1.2 volts on that capacitor and see what gets hot? So right now we have the voltage injection tool set at 1.2 volts. Let's see what happens when we inject 1.2 volts right on this capacitor here. Nothing. Nothing happens. I mean, right now I'm trying to inject voltage at the shorted cap, but nothing is being drawn. 0 amps being drawn. Let me measure again in diode mode. Look at this, we do have a short. Now we are reading 0.14 instead of a short. We were reading a short before. Okay, so things changed right now. We are no longer reading a short anywhere on the caps. I don't know what happened. We are no longer reading a short anywhere on the caps. Nothing is shorting to ground right now. Okay. Let's go ahead and replace that chip. That's the only thing that I could think of as being wrong with this tablet. It's not normal for that chip to go hot when the charging cable is plugged in. Okay, the chip is out. The area is crowded. We're gonna apply leaded solder and mix it along with unleaded, so that way it's easier to wake those solder balls. We need to clean the area so we can solder a new chip. All right, so we're gonna clean up. And now we're gonna use a wick and our hot tweezers to clean those solder pads. All right, so we're gonna grab a tiny piece of a solder wick and we're gonna grab it with our hot tweezers. Okay, and we're gonna do this. But of course, we need to apply flux so the wicking process is easier. Solder will flow better. And look at that. Look at that amazing technique. That's awesome. Look at that. If you are a watcher of the channel, you may have seen a video of us going over this technique about a year ago, where I thought, let me try hot tweezers and a wick and see if we are able to clean off solder pads that way. I was just trying it and it worked, and I've been using this technique since. Look at this. Super clean. Very nice. We did not disturb any components around that chip. Now we're gonna apply Flux and we're gonna solder that chip. And that's our brand new already rebuilt chip. And it should go like this. So right now I'm gonna hold that chip down in place, apply hot air until it makes a connection, and then we're gonna reflow it so it can settle in place. I think that's good enough. Okay, and the chip made a connection. Let me turn the tablet so we can tap it from the back like this. We do not have any room to tap that chip, but I just want to see it move in place. Right there, right there. Alright, that's it. The job is done. We do not have any room to tap that chip, but the chip did settle in place and it's soldered. Done. The chip is soldered on perfectly. Very nice. We have to wait until the board cools down a bit, because right now if you look at the board under the thermal cam, the whole thing is going to be hot because we applied a lot of hot air on the board. And we just have to wait until the board cools down. Let's wait a few minutes. All right, now I think we are ready to look at the board under a thermal cam. The board cooled down. So I have the cable plugged in right here. And the chip that was getting hot, the one that we just changed, is this one here. Right now we still have the motherboard separated from the battery. So let's go ahead and remove the separator and see what happens. 1, 2, 3. Oh, look at that. And the CPU is turning on. So it looks like our problem is fixed. Look at the chip. It's not hot anymore. We no longer have a heat spot at the power IC. But we want to see, is the tablet working? So let's go ahead and plug the charging cable and see what happens. 5 volts at 1.1 amps. The tablet is fixed. That's the normal charging rate. 1.1 amps at 5 volts. Amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the screen just to confirm that the tablet is powering on. It's not very often that we change power ICs on this model tablet. But it can happen, and that's why we have those ICs. The screen is connected. I'm going to remove the separator between the battery and the motherboard, and let's see. Are we going to get a charging symbol or an Apple logo? I do not even know if the battery is charged. Let's try to power it on right now, like this. Right there. It's working. It's working. The tablet was not powering on before. It was not showing a battery logo. Completely dead. Now the battery is being charged. Amazing. Amazing. That's it. The job is done. Tablet is fixed. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any questions. And we'll do something else in the next video.